Hungarian Folk Tales. The Golden Calf. Once upon a time, there lived a king and a queen, and they had a handsome, strong son and a beautiful daughter. One day the king called his children. "Dear son, it's time for you to go out, find a maiden, and get married. I'm getting old, and you should take over the burdens and problems of the land from me, and you, my daughter, should choose someone whom you would be willing to marry." "Father, I do not need anyone. There is not a maiden in this land who was born for me," the daughter continued. "I don't want to get married, father dear. There is no prince in this land for me." The king became very angry. "Get out of here, both of you. I don't want to see you if you are so picky and choosy." So the prince and the princess set out to see the world. As they were walking across the hills, they walked and walked until they became very tired. They rested underneath a tree and they soon fell fast asleep. When the girl awoke, she called her brother. "I had a dream, brother. Do you know what I saw?" "What did you see? Tell me." "In my dream, I saw that this tree has magical powers. If you pick a leaf and touch it to the forehead of a sick man, that man will be healed right there and then. And not far from here flows a stream, and even if that man is half dead, he will be cured if he drinks from the water. Let's give it a try." They collected a bunch of leaves and filled their sacks with them. The girl filled her canteen with water, and they continued on their journey. They were walking and walking until they reached another land where everyone was dressed in black. "Good woman, what's the reason for mourning in this land?" "My dear son, the prince is so ill that no one can cure him." Our prince said to his sister, "Let's go and cure him." So they both dressed as doctors and went to see the king. The king was only too pleased to let them in. The princess walked up to the prince and placed some leaves on his forehead. And at that very moment, the prince looked up, their eyes met, and they smiled at each other. The brother of the princess stepped up to the bed and gave the prince a few sips of the healing water. The sick prince sat up in an instant, and he was 100 times healthier than ever before. "I'm not going to let you go, whoever you are. You will be my wife." The brother told his sister, "Well, sister, now you've found your true love. It's time for me to walk on until I find mine." And with that, he continued on his journey. And at one point along the way, he heard the sound of drums. The drummers were announcing that the princess would marry the man who found what mark she had under her arm. There were dozens and dozens of candidates who came to try their luck, but none of them had any success. As he was walking around in the town, thinking hard about the riddle, a blacksmith looked out of his window and called to the young man. "Where are you going and why? I heard the drums and the announcement, and I am supposed to guess what mark the princess has under her arm." "Well, that's easy. I have a lot of gold. I could use that to make a golden calf. Somebody could curl up inside that calf, and we can take the calf to market. The princess will see the golden calf and will buy it, and the person inside the calf will find out what mark she has under her arm." The prince said, "What if that person were me?" "Well, all right, we can agree on that." In the morning, the prince climbed inside the golden calf and they transported it right to the middle of the marketplace. It wasn't long before the king and the princess came walking by. Father dear, please buy this one for me. It would look so beautiful in the palace." And she kept on pleading until her father bought the golden calf for his daughter. He told his men to place the golden calf into his daughter's room. Evening came, and the princess undressed and went to bed. When the prince was convinced that she was asleep, he opened the little door, climbed out, slowly walked to her bed, and peeked under her left arm. And suddenly he saw what was there: the sun, the moon, and the stars. He laughed out loud, but he woke the princess up. When she saw the stranger in her room, she let out a scream. But the prince was not afraid, and he spoke to the princess. "Stop screaming, lest they find out that I'm here with you." The two of them started talking. They agreed that she would have the calf taken back to the blacksmith. And so it happened. In the morning, her father came in. "Oh, father dear, I accidentally broke off one of its ears. Let's have it taken back to the blacksmith so he can place it back." They took back the golden calf, the blacksmith opened the side door, and the prince climbed out. That afternoon, the prince went to see the king. "Your Majesty, please give me 3 days to think, and I'll find out the truth." And he pretended to think long and hard. Finally, the third day came, and the princess could hardly wait. The king spoke. "So, did you find out?" "Well, Your Majesty, she's wearing the sun, the moon, and the stars under her arm." "Well, by golly, you're right. You've solved the riddle. You can have my daughter and my kingdom." And they had a fabulous wedding with plenty of food and drink for everyone. Of course, they invited the prince's sister and her husband, the other prince, and they did not forget about their parents either. Everyone was happy. The wedding and the party lasted for a whole week, and they all lived happily ever after.